morning, Champions School of Real Estate, wonderful students and customers. I'm Rita Santamaria, the owner-founder of Champions School of Real Estate, and I am so honored to have an icon of Houston, of Texas.
I know, I'm sitting next to the icon here.
No, you're not, but wow, we have that now on video and audio.
The true icon.
What a compliment. I just can't even tell you what a wonderful gift to Houston Mattress Mack is. And this man goes all over the city during the week and does seminars or talks to elementary school, middle school, high schools, and people all over. But
I've done thousands of talks in my career, and I'm most excited about this one, Rita.
Man!
Thousands.
I am so honored. Honest to goodness, that is the kindest thing ever.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, you are being watched, listened to by our wonderful campus in Dallas, North Dallas, and Fort Worth, right off Camp Bowie, as well as Austin, as well as San Antonio, 3 campuses in Houston. But then we also have our wonderful customers all over the state of Texas that take our online courses. When I, as a new business owner, first saw Mattress Mack on TV, I thought, what a cool thing. I had read this book that said if you use these words, save, money, time, now, then you've hit a home run. So what does this man do? He jumps up with money, and the very end of his TV commercial, he says, save you money. I have that impression in my brain forever. It was the coolest, neatest
Thank God
thing.
somebody remembers my advertising.
We all do. You know that. We all do. Let me just tell you what I think is the neatest thing in the world about Mac. First of all, I want you to know we love him in Houston, but Dallas also wants to take credit for you because I
grew
know
up
you
in Dallas.
started
I did,
in Dallas.
absolutely.
And when I was talking with some of our customers in Dallas, they go, no, Mattress Mack is ours because he grew up in Dallas. And I'm like, well, but he absolutely showed, and he's shown many times the person that he is in his heart. But during Hurricane Harvey, I think all of Texas, if certainly not the world, saw a man that said, here are my beautiful gallery furniture stores. There's one on I-45, the original one.
Right.
And the one on Post Oak that's near the Galleria, just down the street from us.
Right across the street where we're at.
And then there is the 99 Grand Parkway.
In Richmond, right.
And those 3 stores are beautiful. Right after Harvey, my husband and I went down, bought mattresses. We didn't take your deal about the Astros winning. We knew they were going to win. But he had opened up his stores to all the Harvey victims that were homeless. And to take those beautiful stores and not only open them up to people that were displaced, but provided food, provided entertainment for the kids, provided a way for them to feel safe and appreciated. And man, you just can't imagine how much we fell in love with you at that time. So Henry and I went down, we bought our mattress. They said, are you going to take advantage of that program? If the Astros win, you get it. I said, no, I'm doing this because I believe in Mattress Mack.
Thank you, Rita.
And thank you for what you do for our city every single day. We are all salespeople.
I was just on the Michael Berry show,
Okay.
the most famous radio show in Houston. I said, I'm doing a speech at a real estate school, so I've got to go. And he said, is that Rita Santamaria? I said, yes. He said, I went to her school. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
That was a nice compliment.
The best part was, and he learned a lot.
He learned a lot.
Thank
We're all
you
here to
for
learn.
sharing that. I love it. I love it. We never tire of hearing that our people learn, our customers learn. And that's what you're going to get today. I call Mattress Mack our keynote because he is going to bring to you wonderful tips to help you grow as a person, be more successful as a person. And every entrepreneur needs sales tips, but they also need that inspiration that only comes from within. And I heard his talk. I don't think I even shared it with you. It was over the holidays. You gave it at one of the hotels, and it was taped. And I saw it on television, and I've known him for so many years. Picked up the phone a few weeks ago and said, will you do your talk for our wonderful students? So today we have about 900 to 1,000 people that are watching you and get to learn from you. And I'm honored, I'm thrilled, I'm excited that you are sharing with them some of your tips to personal success.
Well, thank you, Rita, for having me. I'm thrilled to be here at the Champion School of Real Estate, talking to people all over this incredible state of Texas. My honor.
Thank you. So I'm going to move out and turn it over to you.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the students taking their time to listen to my presentation. I haven't done this speech in several years, so I polished up for it the last couple of days. If you bear with me, I'll probably look at some notes. But Mattress Mack's 10 tips to success. Here we go. Number 1, find a job you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life. I think it's very important for all of us to find fulfillment in work and commitment in work. I'm reminded of about 8 years ago, my beloved brother George was in the ICU unit at St. Luke's Hospital at the Texas Medical Center. He was dying of congestive heart failure. And he was in that hospital in a coma for about 6 weeks, and every night when I got off retail work hours, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, sometimes 1 o'clock, I would go down and visit my brother. And even though he was in a coma, he and I were so close, we grew up in the same room together for 18 years in Dallas. He knew I was there, and I would kneel beside his bedside and pray. And quite often at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, they would walk this world-famous heart surgeon named Dr. Bud Frazier. Dr. Bud Frazier has performed more open heart surgeries than anybody in history. He was taught by Dr. Denton Cooley and Michael DeBakey, two of the most famous pioneering heart surgeons in the history of the world, two legends of the Texas Medical Center. And anyway, Dr. Frazier would be down there at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'd come in my brother's hospital room. He would nurture him and doctor him and then read his charts and see how his progress was going. And then I would talk to Dr. Frazier, and finally one time when I saw him about the 6th or 7th night in a row at very late, early in the morning, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I said, Dr. Frazier, what time do you operate in the morning? He said, I operate at 6 a.m. And I said, my goodness, it's 2 a.m. now. How in the world do you ever sleep? He said, yeah, I'll go up the stairs to my office, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, I'll be good. And I said, why are you down here every night making these rounds, taking care of these critically ill patients? Why aren't you home asleep? He said, my patients are my life. So that's a great example for all of us. Find a job you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life where you can't wait to go to bed in the morning, go to bed at night, wake up in the morning and jump out of bed and go to work. That's what we all need. We need to find joy in work, and if you got to find 8 or 10 different jobs to find the one that really motivates you, I think that's very important that you find a job you love to do. Number 2, find joy in work. I believe that work is life's greatest therapy. I believe that so many of us find fulfillment and joy in work, and we need to find our fulfillment. And we spend more time at work than we do waking hours at home, more than likely. So find joy in work. My beloved daughter Elizabeth has severe mental illness. She was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder when she was 13 years old. She was going to Westfield High School out in North Houston, and all the doctors and psychiatrists told her that she'd the best thing we could do for her was put her in a mental institution for the rest of her life because the disease was so severe. Well, my wife and I are just like everybody listening here today at the Champion School of Real Estate. We're not buyers, we're sellers. We weren't buying that theory that this child would never get well. So we took her to many, many mental health facilities, and finally she ended up at Miniger Clinic in Topeka, Kansas, and after 8 or 10 weeks there, she got better, re-enrolled at Westfield High School. The wonderful teachers and administrators helped her get through high school. Anyway, after she got out of high school, she found her joy in work was helping people, other people with mental illnesses realize that they weren't alone, that there was other people in this fight with you than just by yourself. And she poured herself into her work. Anyway, fast forward many years later, this child, who they said would never graduate from high school, who needed to be institutionalized, now has a PhD in social work from the University of Houston, and she's a professor at the Baylor College of Medicine, and she's found joy in her work. Her joy in work helping other people helps solve her mental illness. Her mental illness will never go away. She'll always be fighting it, but her joy in work has helped her give meaning to her life, so find joy in work. Number 3, and this goes for all of us, get rid of your sense of entitlement. Get rid of your sense of entitlement. Many years ago in the early 1980s, I was working at a convenience store in Dallas, and it was a job that I didn't really like. And one day the boss walked in and said, "Son, I got great news for you tonight." And I said, "What's that, sir?" He said, "You're fired." And I said, "Oh my goodness." I went home that night to my folks' house. I went into a depression for several weeks. I felt like I was a victim of circumstances. Like many people in this country nowadays, I felt like I was entitled to a nice home, nice car, nice job without having to work for it. So I went into a depression for many, many weeks and woke up kind of early one Sunday morning several weeks later. Stumbled into my folks' house where the television was. I turned the television on. There was a religious program on that Sunday morning. I really wasn't looking for any religion out of the television, but the preacher was preaching a message, so I decided that I'd watch for a while. I turned the television on, and the preacher said, he said, "You know, there's a lot of you out there in television land today that are, people in television land today that are throwing your lives away." He said, "You feel sorry for yourself. You feel like the world owes you a favor." He said, "Let me tell you something. The world doesn't owe you a favor. You owe the world a favor." He said, "Get up, go to work, and make something out of your life." And that was truly a seminal event in my life. He said, "Get up, go to work, and make something out of your life." So I went out the next, that was one of the changing moments of my life. I remember, even though it was 40 some odd years ago, like it was yesterday, I went out the next day and I got a job at a small furniture store there in Dallas. And I only had one problem. That furniture store was located about 40 miles from my parents' house, and I had to ride the bus out there 2 hours every morning, 2 hours back. But I found something I was good at. I was good at retailing, and I loved dealing with customers. Anyway, fast forward a year and a half later, I moved to Houston, got in the furniture business at Gallery Furniture, and the rest is history. But I got rid of my sense of entitlement. I realized that that rather than saying, "Why me? Why did this happen to me?" I should look at the world from this point of view. Why me? Why was I lucky enough to be born in the United States? Why am I lucky enough to live in Texas, the land of free enterprise? Why am I lucky enough to have all these wonderful customers I can serve every day? Why am I lucky enough to be able to attend the Champion School of Real Estate and learn life-changing tips that'll help me in my career, help me make money, help me provide for my family? So I think we all need to get rid of our sense of entitlement and be grateful for everything and entitled to nothing. We need to be grateful for everything and entitled for nothing. Number 4 on these 10 tips to live by is, it's what you learn after you know it all that really count. That's right. It's what you learn after you know it all that really count. Education at the Champion School of Real Estate, education wherever. Education is a gift that we can all take all we want, and there's always plenty left for everybody else. Education is a gift you can take all you want, and there's always plenty left for everybody else. I think we all need to be lifelong learners, especially in the 21st century. In 2019, technology changes so fast we can hardly keep up to it. We got to be learning every day, seeking out those new courses, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in sales, whether it's in the furniture business, whether it's in whatever profession you choose. We have to be lifelong learners to keep up. One of my great mentors in life was a man named W. Edwards Deming. He was a quality control statistician, and he was sent by Douglas MacArthur to Japan after World War II to help rebuild their economy, and he helped rebuild these great companies like Toyota, Sony, Mitsubishi. And Dr. Deming was a great man, and he was a lifelong learner, and he learned till when he died when he was 93 years old. And on the unfortunate day of his death, I learned later on that as he was laying in bed, literally dying, he was having his daughter read from a book so he could continue to educate his mind. That's a lifelong learner. Make a commitment to lifelong learning, and it will aid you every day of your life. It'll aid you every day of your life. Number 5 on the Mattress Mack 10 tips to success is prepare for setbacks. One thing is a given in all of our lives. We're going to get up every day and we're going to get knocked down every day. Every day is not going to be roses. There's going to be setbacks every single day. So I think what we need to do is prepare for setbacks. Fall 7 times, rise 88. That needs to be our motto. Fall 7, rise 88. Life is a battle and a blessing every day, and there's going to be suffering in your life, in my life, and our relatives' lives every single day. Every day is not going to be a bed of roses. But if we prepare for setbacks when those tough times come, we realize that tough times never last, tough people do. And if we prepare for setbacks and work through those setbacks, the glory is getting across the finish line, and that's where the true joy of life is, overcoming setbacks. Number 6, we have to innovate or we're going to evaporate. We have to innovate or evaporate. I'm sure in your career in the real estate business, in the sales business, you've seen hundreds of disruptions, new way of doing things. And I think we have to change every day. It's going to put us out of business tomorrow. At Gallery Furniture, we have to change our business model every day, because right now we have giant competition from these wonderful retail giants like Amazon, Wayfair, and they're selling tons of furniture online which didn't exist 20 years ago. We've got to change, we've got to morph, we've got to adapt, we have to innovate or we're going to evaporate. And my question is, what are we all working on today? What are we trying to learn today to innovate, find new ways to do business, and ask ourselves, would the customers miss us if we went out of business tomorrow? And what am I doing to innovate so that we are really relevant to our customers every single day? Number 7, the biggest barrier to your future success is your past success. The biggest barrier to your future success is your past success. You know, when the Roman warriors used to go away to war and they'd come back to Rome after conquering a foreign land, as the warriors were riding in on the chariots, they would send somebody running alongside the chariots saying that all glory is fleeting. The biggest barrier to our past success is to our future success is our past success. Experience, I'm here to say to everybody in the Champions Real Estate School, experience counts for everything and experience counts for nothing. Too often, myself and a lot of us get in this trap of saying that's the way we've always done it. That may have worked in the early 2000s or even in 2012, 2015, but it may not work today in 2019. So we got to get rid of that. Experience counts for everything, experience counts for nothing. We got to look forward with vision to the future, come up with new ideas, and realize that our biggest barrier to our past success, to our future success, is our past success. And forget about yesterday and focus on the future, because the future is all that matters. Number 8, facts fade, stories last forever. When you're selling your customers, tell stories. People relate to stories. They relate to stories every single day. Let me tell you a great story. My friend Yvonne Strait is I think a modern day saint. She lives in Houston. 60 years ago, she had a wonderful child, and the child was diagnosed with severe Down syndrome. And back then, the average life expectancy of a child with Down syndrome was 6 years old. And so they told Yvonne to put her child in an institution and forget about her. But Yvonne, again, she's not a buyer. She wasn't buying that her child was going to be a failure in life. She's a seller. She was going to find a way to overcome those obstacles. So Yvonne searched the entire country and finally found a doctor at Purdue University that could help her child. And Yvonne started a school for children with severe learning disabilities called the Briarwood School, right here in this part of Houston, 60 years ago. And many years later, I asked Yvonne, they took in lots of children with learning disabilities, who was the toughest student she ever had at Briarwood. She said, oh, it had to be this boy named Tracy. I said, well, Yvonne, tell me about Tracy. She said Tracy was a very difficult child. He had a lot of problems, and he disrupted all the classes all the time. And many times I wanted to kick Tracy out of the school, but I just didn't have the guts to do it. So I said, well, Yvonne, what happened to Tracy? She said, well, after several years at Briarwood, he left and went on to high school, and I hadn't seen him since. She said, about 20 years ago, I was at Briarwood. I'm no longer the principal. I was the chairman emeritus, and I was walking down the hallway, and this good-looking guy came running down the hallway saying, hey, Miss Strait, Miss Strait, Miss Strait, do you remember me? Do you remember me? And Miss Yvonne said, "No, I don't remember you. Who are you?" She said, "Oh yeah, Miss Straight, you got to remember me. You got to remember me. I was your favorite student." She said, "No, I really don't remember who you are." She said, "Come on, Miss Straight, you remember me. I was your favorite student." She said, "No, what's your name?" She said, Miss Straight, it's me, Tracy." And Yvonne said, "Oh my goodness, I remember you, Tracy. When you were here, we had a lot of difficult times together, but I was really proud when you left here because you were doing better." She said, "Tracy, how are you doing now?" She said, "Miss Straight, I'm doing great." And she said, "Well, Tracy, where do you live?" He said, "I live in Los Angeles." She said, "Really, do you have a job?" He said, "Oh yeah, Miss Straight, I got a good job." She said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm on television. Have you ever seen my show?" And Yvonne said, "No, I don't watch much television. What show are you on?" He said, "I'm on a TV show called Cheers." She said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm the bartender." His name is Woody Harrelson. And of course, he went on to be a great actor. And many years ago, several years ago, I had a child named Regina going to the Briarwood School. And Woody Harrelson came and gave a talk to all the kids. And he was just magnificent for 2 hours. And he went to Briarwood, which is a facility that Yvonne started for adults with severe learning disabilities. Some of the adults there have had severe brain trauma and brain impaired or Down syndrome, whatever. And Woody Harrelson went to Briarwood for about 6 or 8 hours. So it was one of the great events of his life. So, you know, you never know whose life you're going to affect if you never give up on people. And I think we don't, as salespeople, we need to tell those heartwarming stories to our customers, to our families, because facts fade, but indeed stories last forever. Number 9, become a people person. In this digital age, we all tend to hide behind these cell phones or our iPads or our PCs, and we don't have as much people-to-people contact as we used to. I think it's real important in the digital age that high tech is great, like I'm talking to you today through high tech. But more than anything else, human beings now need high touch. They want to know that somebody cares about me. Too often we hide behind our cell phones, our iPad, because let's face it, it's an effort to build relationships with people. But you look at what Rita's done here at the Champion School of Real Estate. She's established relationship with thousands of people across Texas, across the world, personal relationships. I'd like to tell a story about one of the greatest people I ever met, President George Herbert Walker Bush, who we lost a month ago, of course, but who led a magnificent life. President Bush was the ultimate people person. He built his career through forming relationships with people. And he was not a product of the digital age. He was a product of the analog age. But for every hour and a half, the first hour and a half of his adult life, from the time he was 20-year-old on, he would sit down and write personal thank you letters to people who'd done him a favor the day before. He and Mrs. Bush both would. And it's estimated that President Bush sent 60 or 70,000 personal thank you letters during his career. Imagine those relationships. This great man who didn't have to do that, but he was such a great people person. So I think we all need to put our iPads up and make stronger relationships with our family, with our community, with our church, with our people that we do business with, and of course relationships with our customers, because customers, they know all about high tech, but above all, customers want high touch, they want community, they want to know that you care about them, and they want to know that you're the real estate agent they can call on when they have good news. I want to sell my house, I want to buy a new house, but that's who they can count on because you have a personal relationship with them. So establish yourself as a people person. I'm a bit of an introvert, but I've learned in my life I want to be successful. I have to be a people person. I got to get out there and shake hands and kiss babies. That's the way to get ahead in this digital world. And number 10, be a life force for good. Be a life force for good. I was watching a video the other day between a Catholic bishop talking and a Jewish rabbi. It was a wonderful discussion. And the Jewish rabbi talked about this famous guy who, when he was like 9 or 10 years old, during the horrible occurrences in Nazi Germany, he was about to be taken away to a concentration camp. And he told his mother, if you hear that I've been killed or I've been gassed, it's probably true, but if you hear that I've been starved to death, don't believe it. Anyway, this wonderful man he was a life force for good. He survived 17 different concentration camps and then came out of those concentration camps and lived his life in memory of all those people who didn't make it to those concentration camps. He believed in God, he believed in faith, he believed in miracles. He was a life force for good and lived to like 101 years old and survived all these obstacles. And I think that's one thing we can all learn. We can learn to be resistant, we can learn to be resilient, we can learn to be change agents, we can learn to be life forces for good, we can learn to be positive, we can learn to be people persons. Another great story they told was about a back in England and during the war, all these Jewish family had to eat was margarine and some very few staples, and it was time to light one of the Hanukkah candles, and the father took the margarine and used it for fluid to light the Hanukkah candles, and his son, who was 7 years old at that time, said, "Dad, you can't do that, it's all we have to eat." He says, "Son, it's been proven that human beings can go for 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, but you can't go for 3 minutes without hope." Well, I think becoming a life force for good, we can give people hope, the hope of a better tomorrow. And let's face it, that's what we're selling. We're selling the hope of a new home. We're selling the hope of new real estate. We're selling the hope of a better tomorrow. And what better place to have hope than in the great state of Texas and all across the country, those of you going to the Champion School of Real Estate. We are truly in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and let's have hope. The last thing I want to leave you with is these 10 two-letter words to live by that were taught to me by a great Jewish merchant here in Houston when I first got here to sell furniture back in 1981. He said, "Mac, here's 10 two-letter words to live by. If it is to be, it is up to me or we." The great American virtue of self-reliance. Let's get out there and have a great 2019. Let's delight our customers. Let's become people persons. Let's become change agents. And most of all, let's become life forces for good. Those are Mattress Mack's 10 tips for success. Thank you, Rita, for having me here today.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet.
Thank you so much. We are all independent contractors, and being independent contractors, we have to have that personal motivation. And I know right now, Mac, our students around the state are standing up and clapping.
Well, thank you.
And I know many of them will go to YouTube. Our wonderful Joseph Owens will have it on YouTube by this afternoon.
Good.
And I know many will ask if they can take the link of your talk and take it over to their office, their own website, so that they can listen to it in the office and say, wow, listen to what Mattress Mack said and inspired us. With this.
Absolutely. To all those entrepreneurs out there, one more thing. You know, quite often Rita doesn't feel like getting up and going to work every day. I don't feel like it. None of us do. Or none of us are chippy and fired up every day. But, you know, when you get up and you go to work and then all of a sudden you start feeling great. That's the wonderful thing about work. You go out there, you start dealing with those customers, those clients, making those sales, and a lousy day turns into a great day. That's the joy of work.
We had a few of our students, and they're always students. Our average age of our student is 52.
Love it. I love it. Love it.
And they came in on chat, and they had a couple of questions. They said, if it's time, could you ask Mattress Mack a couple of things? One came from my daughter, who's president of our company. She lives in Austin. She said, would you please ask Mac to show his Astros World Series ring? Yeah,
I got this beautiful Astros World Series ring, even though I didn't play an inning, but Reed Ryan and Mr. Crane were nice enough to give it to me. It's one of the absolute,
gorgeous.
Probably my favorite material possession of my life. It is gorgeous, and it celebrates an incredible team who came forward during Houston's darkest hour and gave us all light. So, you know, one of the things real estate agents do, they give light to their customers, and this ring gives me light every day about overcoming obstacles and making things happen.
Love it. And you absolutely did more during that season to also promote our Astros, but you do it for all of our teams.
Well, I love the Astros, love everything they stand for. They're good people.
So we had a student that said, what advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice would I give to my younger self? Good question. My advice I would give to my younger self is probably, I've always been a very impulsive person, and I tend to leap before I look, so I'd advise myself to look a little bit more before I leap. And but the other advice I would give myself is just go for it, which I've done my whole life. Jump in there and go for it. Give it all you got. And I'm 68 years old now. I feel like I'm 22, so I'm happy. I've got great children, wonderful wife. So you know, I would the other advice I would give is rather than saying why me, why did this happen to me, say why me, why am I so lucky to have wonderful parents, wonderful community, wonderful opportunities. I would do more of that. Look at the bright side of things.
Love it, love it. And this one new person said, out of the 10 tips as a brand new person going into sales, what would be the overriding one tip that that person needs to remember every single day?
Work on those people skills and develop that network of people skills. You develop that network of people skills, is going to help you sell more. And when you have a problem, you're going to know somebody who's going to help you with that problem. And let's face it, as human beings, we're all social creatures. I think too often we spend too much time on these gadgets. We get unity in the community, so let's bring people together rather than separate people. Wow. And let's live our life as members of a community, making every person's life better because we're here.
I love that, unity in the community.
That's right.
And as salespeople, we're so instrumental, should be instrumental in bringing that community together all the time. And
I want to congratulate all the salespeople out there. You know, lawyers and all these wonderful people do great things, but the people that built this country were salespeople who sold that land, sold that house, sold that furniture, sold that car, enabled other people to have jobs. So God bless all the salespeople out there. You're doing a wonderful job that fuels the economy of the United States.
Now they really are up out of their seats cheering right now.
They should be cheering. They should be cheering for themselves.
Exactly. Love it. You see why he's our icon, our special trophy in this particular region, if not for the whole state of Texas. Well, we love bringing wonderful people in to our customers, our students. It's always free. And next month, on February the 7th, we're bringing in Devin Forbes with Amazing Realty from Round Rock, Texas. And Devin is one of our fairly new students who has an unusual background in that in a short time he went straight up to the top in sales. And I always love it for our new people that we can tell them you can do it, especially if you go by Mac's 10 steps here. And do you mind if we send these out via email today?
Please do. Absolutely. Send them out.
Okay, perfect. So
now, I wouldn't be a good salesman, Rita, if I didn't get a pitch. Come out to Gallery Furniture right now. Even if you live in Austin, we deliver to Austin, we deliver to San Antonio. Buy $5,000 or better worth furniture. And if the team from Los Angeles wins a big game on February 3rd, you get half your money back, 100% back in in-store credit. Great time to buy furniture right now at Gallery Furniture. And tell your clients with the new houses we are ready for them.
I love it.
A salesman got to sell.
I was going to do that for you at the end, but you do it better with that amazing Mac voice. Absolutely. It's like whenever I have the opportunity, it's how do I weave in Champion School of Real Estate?
Amen.
Because we can't be an undercover agent, and I love using that all the time. When you're in sales, people need to know, and you need to be proud that you're in sales.
That's right. You have to have a strong call to action. You got to ask for the order because we think the customers know what we're there for, but they really don't. You got to ask for the order. Are you going to buy this sofa today? Are you going to buy this house today? How do I help you make this decision today so you get this new house?
Asking for the order, and we talk about that a lot in our sales books.
Amen.
So Gallery Furniture would also then deliver to San Antonio.
San Antonio, Austin, wherever, all across the state.
Dallas, all over the state. And I can tell you in our home, my home in the Woodlands, I have a lot of gallery furniture in that home, and I love it.
Thank you, Rita.
I love it. And so we've got Devin Forbes coming on February the 7th from Round Rock, and we have Jay Carter Breed coming with him. Jay Carter Breed has been a long-time experienced agent. He has his own company, Jay Carter Breed Properties. So we always put the two together, a brand new person and an experienced agent. And you'll get to hear their wonderful tips to success. Today has been just wonderful, amazing, helpful, inspirational.
One more thing. I thought about this just now. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Tell yourself what you can do. Nobody told Roger Bannister he couldn't run a 4-minute mile. 4-minute mile had never been run. He ran a 4-minute mile, and within a year, 30 people ran 4-minute mile school is now possible. Anything's possible in the great free enterprise system. And the great thing about sales is you write your own paycheck every week.
That is the best that we love that statement. We do write our own paycheck every week. And when Mac also has number 3, get rid of your sense of entitlement and don't really, think so much that you are above asking for business or whatever. Here is this very well-known businessman, and we all know him from TV, we know him from all the great things that he does in our city. But what I love to say about you is you walk into Gallery Furniture and you often see Mac, and he's there, and he's available even for pictures, and he's thanking you. And I know that we always want our students to know how much we thank them for their business. They can go elsewhere, but thank you for going to Champion School of Real Estate. You're
at the best school right here, Champion School of Real Estate. They do a great job. I was just on the radio with one of the most famous radio people in the country. He got his real estate license through Champion School of Real Estate.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Rita.
So Gallery Furniture will save you money.
Today.
And thank you for tuning in today and listening to our wonderful Mattress Mack, our Texas icon. And again, thank you for your business at Champion School of Real Estate.